Hey team, what's happening? Handstands are difficult. I outline exactly why in my handstands for beginner video, but without a doubt, like with most skills, there's an element of fear when starting out. Let's figure out how to overcome the most common fear that may be holding you back. Falling over on your back is probably the most common fear that I've heard people mention. Balancing a handstand happens when your body is teetering about this upright line, just like you can't stand up without being upright. If you have a fear of landing on your back, a few things can happen. One, you won't kick up high enough to find that upright sweet spot line, or you'll try to get your feet over that upright line without getting the majority of your mass there, which is less than ideal. To get over this fear, I usually suggest being comfortable with falling, and to do that, I suggest practice falling. There are 3 ways to exit a handstand when you're tipping to your backside. 1 is walk it out, 2 is cartwheel or pirouette out, and 3 is somersault or front roll out. Walking it out is a technique you can use if you're past the point of no return in your handstand, but not so far that you have the strength to catch yourself and avoid going head over heels, or heels over head, whatever. This technique isn't my favorite for beginners, as you're catching a falling body with, even though it's for a short time, one arm. This is a significant demand on that wrist and shoulder, and since those joints aren't really made for that anyway, may not be the best way to save yourself, and you still might fall. Cartwheel or pirouette out is another technique which seems to be commonly recommended. However, I'm not the biggest fan for beginners. In order to turn, you need to internally rotate the shoulder that's taking most of the heat. Typically, this fully flexed, high load, and internally rotated position, even for a short time, may not be the best way to exit a handstand if repeated every time you fall, which in the beginning should be a lot. Cartwheeling out and actually cartwheeling shouldn't really be compared here. You never really get into that internally rotated position while cartwheeling. Try this move. Face forward with your thumbs up and bring your hands overhead while keeping your palms forward. This is a position you're in a cartwheel. Notice how easily you can get your shoulders up. Now try the same move with your thumbs down. This is the extreme version of how your shoulders will be when doing a cartwheel out maneuver from a handstand. Fully flexed and internally rotated shoulders tend to jam a lot of connective tissue in and around the shoulder joint. Frequent episodes of this in similar positions are typically associated with higher risk for impingement. Additionally, when you bail from a handstand in this way, your shoulder will be under heavy load too. Notice that in a cartwheel, your fingers never point in. A cartwheel and a cartwheel out or pirouette maneuver are not necessarily comparable in terms of safety on the shoulder. Some cartwheel exit moves involve bailing to the side as opposed to your back, which is more like a regular cartwheel. Yet, we're specifically talking about how to bail when you're falling over towards your back. If you're already past the point of no return and falling over, you simply can't just redirect to go to the side. If you could, you should have just instead saved the handstand and remained upright. The exception to this is when you have handstand canes that rotate, but that's another video. The risk of injury doing this, in the grand scheme of things, is probably minimal. So if you still choose to exit this way, it's probably fine. The somersault out, in my opinion, is the safest technique to bail from a handstand. If you follow the steps listed in my handstand video, tuck the chin, back touches first, then roll into the ball, you should safely roll away without any excessive strain or awkward positioning on the shoulder or wrist, or neck. If done correctly, risk is minimal. Unlike cartwheeling out, which if done correctly is still risky. This is probably why front rolling is a level 2 gymnastics move, where pirouetting is a level 4. Once mastered, performing this move on hard surfaces should be fine too. It's not the most comfortable, but for argument's sake, it's an option. Better off just practicing on grass. It also might feel weird not landing on your feet, but you're trying to do a handstand. You gave up using your feet a long time ago. Know that all exit strategies will work. Just make sure you know the risks and take time practicing the one that works for you. If you had a prior traumatic neck injury, maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable risking the somersault. Remember to practice falling so you have a plan. If you aren't afraid of going over, you're more likely to kick to that sweet spot where the hand balancing actually happens. Please let me know what you think about this, or if you have any other exit strategies. If you haven't already, please subscribe and let me know what skills you want to learn in the comments. Thank you all for watching, good luck, keep practicing, keep failing, and I'll see you in the next video.